You are staring at a blindingly bright green candle on a screen. Your heart rate is slightly elevated. You know logically that chasing this massive vertical move is a terrible idea that will end in tears. Your finger clicks the buy button anyway. Why did you do that? You probably blame your lack of discipline. You might think you just need a better strategy, but the real reason you clicked that button is not a lack of willpower. It is a perfectly tuned survival mechanism acting exactly as it was designed to. You performed an action optimized by millions of years of evolution. What if you are biologically programmed to buy the top? To understand why your account is bleeding, you have to forget about money. Money is a completely new invention. Your ancient brain does not understand what a stock or a cryptocurrency actually is in the modern world. It only understands the absolute necessity of survival. How could it possibly know the difference? Imagine standing on the ancient African savanna. The grass is tall, the wind is completely still, and the sun is beating down heavily on your shoulders. Suddenly, every single person in your tribe starts sprinting desperately in one direction. What do?
You do not stop to analyze the data. You do not look for confirming indicators. You run exactly as fast as they do in the exact same direction, because stopping to think meant certain death for early humans. The ones who stopped to ask questions were eaten by lions. Would you really risk being the one left behind? This is the fundamental architecture of your nervous system. You are the descendant of the fastest followers. Your brain rewards you for doing what everyone else is doing with a rush of soothing chemicals. It punishes you with physical anxiety when you try to stand completely alone. How could trading not trigger this exact same biological machinery? Every time you open a chart, you are staring at the herd. A giant green candle is not just price action. It is a highly visible, mathematical footprint of a massive crowd running at top speed toward a perceived reward. Your ancient brain sees that movement and immediately sounds the alarm. Do you feel that sudden panic rising in your chest? You feel a physical pull in your gut. Your palms might start to sweat slightly. You are experiencing the deep biological terror of isolation that kept early humans alive in hostile environments. Buying the asset is the only way your brain knows how to rejoin the safety of the tribe. And so you click buy at the exact moment the financial danger is actually highest. This phenomenon is not just a psychological theory. It is a documented biological process governed by a powerful neurotransmitter. You have probably heard of dopamine before today. You might think dopamine is the chemical of pleasure and reward that makes you feel good. But Stanford neurobiologist Robert Sapolsky proved that this is a very dangerous misunderstanding. Dopamine is not about the reward itself. It is about the anticipation of the reward. Sapolsky discovered that dopamine levels actually peak right before you get what you want, driving you forward into aggressive action. The chemical surge is designed entirely to motivate you to chase a potential prize. Is this not the exact feeling of chasing a breakout?
When you see a coin pumping on Twitter, your brain floods with dopamine. You imagine the massive profits you are about to make. You visualize paying off your car or quitting your job and living a life of total freedom. The dopamine spikes so high that it literally shuts down the logical centers of your brain. Have you ever noticed that you cannot think clearly during a massive market pump? Your prefrontal cortex simply goes dark. This is the part of your brain responsible for long-term planning and complex risk management. It is temporarily disabled by the chemical storm flooding your central nervous system. You are operating entirely from the amygdala. This is your primal threat detection center, and it only cares about immediate short-term survival. But there is another biological force working against you. It is even more powerful than the dopamine rush. It is the agonizing, all-consuming pain of missing out while others succeed. You watch your friends making life-changing money while you sit safely in cash. Why does it hurt so much to simply do absolutely nothing? The answer lies in a psychological principle called loss aversion. In 1979, psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky revolutionized behavioral economics with prospect theory. They mathematically proved that human beings feel the pain of a loss twice as intensely as the pleasure of an equivalent gain. Losing $100 physically hurts more than winning $100 feels good.
But in the modern financial markets, this biology gets completely twisted. When you watch a stock go up without you, your brain does not process it as a neutral missed opportunity. It processes the missed gains as an active, devastating loss of critical resources. You feel like you are actively losing the money you could have easily made. Does this phantom loss not trigger the exact same stress response as a real financial blow? The pain is not just a metaphor. It is neurologically real. Researcher Naomi Eisenberger conducted groundbreaking studies on human social pain and group isolation. She placed subjects in an MRI machine and excluded them from a simple digital game of catch with other players. When the subjects were left out of the group, the physical pain centers of their brains lit up like fireworks. Social rejection registers in your brain as physical tissue damage. When you sit on the sidelines during a raging bull market, you are being socially rejected by the winning tribe. Your brain interprets this financial isolation as a literal physical injury to your body. Buying the absolute top is often nothing more than a desperate, subconscious attempt to stop the pain. The market is not a neutral environment. It is an adversarial arena designed to extract capital from the unprepared. And the apex predators of this environment understand your biology much better than you do. They know exactly how to manipulate your dopamine and weaponize your neurological pain. Have you ever wondered why market tops always look so incredibly obvious in hindsight?
In the early 20th century, a legendary trader named Richard Wyckoff developed a framework that explains this perfectly. Wyckoff asked us to imagine the market as a single, highly intelligent, and ruthless entity. He called this invisible entity the Composite Man. The Composite Man carefully orchestrates price movements over months to trap the maximum number of emotional human participants. During the accumulation phase, the Composite Man keeps the price completely boring. He buys quietly while you are distracted by other more exciting things. There is no massive green candle to trigger your dopamine receptors. There is no roaring social herd to trigger your deep fear of isolation. Your brain ignores the asset completely because it poses no immediate threat and offers no immediate anticipation. Then the markup phase slowly begins. The price slowly starts to climb higher. The Composite Man is deliberately driving the price upward to attract retail attention. Your brain starts to notice the upward movement. The dopamine begins to drip slowly into your system, but you tell yourself it is just a dead cat bounce, and you ignore it. Eventually, the price accelerates into a parabolic frenzy. Mainstream media outlets start reporting on the massive, unprecedented gains. Everyone on your social feed is suddenly a millionaire genius bragging about their massive wealth. The Composite Man is painting massive green candles on the chart specifically to trigger a worldwide biological response, and it works perfectly every single time he does it.
The climax of the bull market is a masterpiece of psychological warfare. The price moves so aggressively fast that it creates maximum FOMO across the globe. The pain of missing out becomes physically unbearable for the uneducated masses. This is the final distribution phase. The Composite Man is finally ready to sell his massive bags, but he needs millions of desperate buyers to take them off his hands. Who provides that massive exit liquidity? The herd. You and everyone else who finally surrendered to millions of years of evolutionary programming. You click buy at the exact moment the Composite Man aggressively clicks sell. You thought you were safely joining the warm embrace of the surviving tribe. Can you see how you were walking directly into the center of the slaughterhouse? The moment you finally buy, the massive dopamine crash begins. The anticipation is officially over, so the chemical reward stops pumping immediately. Your prefrontal cortex slowly and painfully comes back online. You look at the daily chart and suddenly realize how dangerously extended the price actually is. The true panic sets in as the relentless red candles begin to cascade downward. Can you override this ancient biological trap? Yes, but it requires a fundamental shift in how you view trading. You cannot fight millions of years of human evolution with simple brute force willpower. Your amygdala is infinitely faster and stronger than your logical thinking mind. To survive in the markets, you must remove the biological triggers entirely from your process. This is why professional traders rely on strict, systematic rules. They do not trade based on what the glowing chart makes them feel. They execute a predetermined, mathematically sound plan, regardless of the current social environment. A trading system acts as an artificial prefrontal cortex for your trading business. It makes the cold, logical decisions for you when your biological brain is flooded with blinding chemicals. You have to train yourself to act completely unnaturally. You must learn to feel the quiet comfort of deep isolation. When the herd is screaming that an asset is going straight to the moon, you must recognize the sound of the slaughterhouse doors opening.
You must realize that true financial safety is found exactly where your screaming biology tells you that danger lies. Consider the famous conformity experiments conducted by psychologist Solomon Asch in the 1950s. Asch placed a single subject in a room full of actors who intentionally gave the wrong answers to obvious questions. He wanted to see if the subject would trust their own eyes or conform to the completely wrong group. Do the results of this experiment explain exactly why you buy the top? Over 70% of the participants conformed to the group's incorrect answer at least once. They literally ignored the undeniable physical reality right in front of their own eyes. They chose to be wrong with the herd rather than be right all alone. The social pressure completely overwrote their ability to process basic visual information. Why would looking at a trading chart be any different?
When every influencer is calling for higher prices, you stop trusting your own analysis. You see the bearish divergences forming clearly on your screen. You see the extreme overbought conditions that historically precede massive, devastating crashes. But the overwhelming bullishness of the herd makes you doubt your own perfectly valid data. You choose to be wrong with the crowd instead of right by yourself. This is the ultimate paradox of financial markets. The actions that feel the safest biologically are the actions that are the most dangerous financially. Buying after a massive run-up feels incredibly safe because everyone else is doing it right beside you. Buying a terrifying crash feels like stepping in front of a speeding train alone. Have you accepted that your biology is constantly giving you the exact wrong signals? Evolution built you to survive in a physical world that no longer exists. It gave you deeply ingrained instincts that kept your ancient ancestors alive but will slowly bleed your modern portfolio dry. The next time you feel the overwhelming urge to chase a parabolic run, stop and strictly observe your own body. Feel the elevated heart rate pounding in your chest. Recognize the intoxicating chemical pull dragging your finger toward the mouse. Understand that the blinding urge is not a signal of massive financial opportunity. It is the echo of an ancient survival mechanism misfiring wildly in a digital world. You do not have to be a helpless victim of your own neurology. You can step back, take a deep breath, and calmly watch the entire herd run blindly over the cliff. You are staring at a blindingly bright green candle on a screen, but this time you know exactly why you won't click buy.